There are a ton of rumors circulating the web about Rey's heritage and who she may be and what major character she's connected to in The Force Awakens and later films for Star Wars. It's pretty much universally agreed upon that she is connected to someone of significance in the Star Wars universe, and I'm here to talk about my theory and the one that I find to be the most interesting. Maybe not the most likely, but at least the one that I think is the most interesting. Other theories have placed Rey possibly being the granddaughter or daughter of Luke Skywalker and the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but in this theory, I will be talking about Rey possibly being the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine himself, and why I think that would add a very interesting dynamic, especially between her and Kylo Ren in future Star Wars movies. While it is left unclear in The Force Awakens, I do believe that Rey was present during some of Luke's attempted new council before the Padawans were slaughtered by Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren. The flashback that Rey gets when she touches the original lightsaber is very dim, and we get a lot of hurt memories from her and images that are very haunting, images of Luke's dead students and also Kylo Ren in front of what looks to be the Knights of Ren, surrounded by a bunch of bodies laying in the rainy floor. We know that after these events, Rey was dropped off on Jakku by an unknown person at this point in time, but someone who Rey believes to be her family. My theory is that in between the time of Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, Luke was scouring the galaxy for Force-sensitive individuals to help build his new Jedi Council. It would be during this time that Luke would stumble upon someone who had a young child. Now, this person's heritage would be significant. They might be the son or daughter of Emperor Palpatine himself, as we know that his love life or heritage is left a bit ambiguous in the films, and that Emperor Palpatine oftentimes went into exile and didn't really interact with many members of the Empire other than Darth Vader and some of the high-level Moffs. So the hypothesis is that after Emperor Palpatine's death at the hands of Darth Vader, Luke came across this Force-sensitive individual, this young girl in Rey, and that she was in fact the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine himself, and then her parents, not being evil people at heart, decided to give Rey to Luke Skywalker for her to undergo teachings in his new Jedi. Shortly after this, I believe that Kylo Ren and the rest of the Knights of Ren would turn on Luke Skywalker and lead him to go into exile, but before he did, he would drop off Rey on the planet of Jakku for her to be raised as a scavenger, as raising her and training her would prove to be very difficult to Luke, and it might be a task that he didn't feel he was up to. It would be interesting to have Luke have to deal with training one of his greatest enemy's granddaughters, as he couldn't even properly train his own nephew. I would be very interested to see how Luke would deal with that. Maybe initially a broken Luke would want to leave Rey on Jakku and go off to exile, as Obi-Wan and Yoda later did in their lives. It would be at this point where we would find Rey in The Force Awakens, and she would undergo her story and journey to Luke Skywalker, where, when she initially found Luke Skywalker, his feelings of being afraid of teaching this person would come back, but it would be at this point in time where he would accept that he would have to train this person for the betterment of the galaxy. I think having Rey end up being the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine would help explain away her natural ability in the Force, even mind-tricking a stormtrooper, while, like I said, having next to no formal training. As of currently, Emperor Palpatine was one of, if not the most powerful Force user in the galaxy, and we saw that he almost single-handedly grabbed the entire galaxy by the throat and ruled it as its emperor. I think the part that makes this theory the most interesting is that we have our main villain who originated from the light with his mother and father, and even later his grandfather, who all turned out to go to the light side of the Force, and he becomes rooted in the dark side of the Force, and then with our main heroine character in Rey, whose lineage would be rooted in the dark side, who then chooses to go against the dark side and join the light. It would create an interesting parallel between our main villain in Kylo and our main hero in Rey, since they both started out in very different places to where they will end up. I think Luke's reaction to Rey in the end of The Force Awakens could be very telling for this theory. The sense that I get from Luke Skywalker is that he's ready to undergo a great task that is before him in training Rey, but he's also apprehensive. And the fact that Rey could stem from the dark side originally, and that he was a bit apprehensive in training her before, as I stated, if he couldn't effectively train his own nephew, how would he ever be expected to train someone whose family is so heavily rooted in the dark side. We can see that expression come across his face in the end of The Force Awakens. So anyway, guys, that's just my theory. I think that this is the most interesting theory as far as Rey's heritage that I've heard so far. I do have another theory that I will touch on. As far as the Rey Kenobi theory, I think that's interesting as well, and she also could end up being Luke's daughter herself. So anyway, guys, leave your thoughts in the comments. Where do you guys think Rey originates from? May the Force be with you, and have a great day.